plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anything you say, 5. Go ahead, ask me a question.
For the anything and everything and shit podcast, Justin and Aaron.
Yeah. Dude, that was awesome, dude.
Right on,
I mean,
man.
that's a good fucking find, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell?
I played the fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No matter what you say, the fifth.
Oh, my God. What's up, everybody?
Yeah,
Hope
how's
you
it going,
getting
guys?
I hope you're getting a good laugh from that one as well.
That's right.
Yeah, man. It's that was.
Another day in the hood around here up in Studio 105 for
Yeah,
anything
man.
and everything and shit podcast.
Man. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on, people, man?
Yeah.
Thank you once again for tuning in and checking us
Definitely.
out. We
Right.
appreciate it.
Really do appreciate it. You know, everybody saw all the different stuff about Fauci and him sucking on the Fifth Amendment and all that stuff. So we don't really want to talk too much about that today. We got some really crazy stuff for you because, you know, we beat up on these flock cameras like every episode we can. We've been spreading the word, letting everybody know that's against your rights, man. But check it out. It was a distraction. Just like everything else, we got distracted, man.
Right.
You know, just like everything else, we started pointing our fingers at this, focusing our attention on this. And then now we find out that, man, they got way more stuff in store for us. And even the president of the United States himself has invested in this company. We also have some ex-CIA members that have, for some reason, come out, written books, told all kinds of stuff. Of course, they're demonetized for every book they've written because of what they've said.
Right.
But we've got that, and then we've also got some people hearing noises again where it's like, whose voice is that? Is that Hillary? Hey, guys, we'll get back to the video in just a second. But first, check out a video from our favorite local badass band.
Yeah, man.
I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it.
So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. It was a video from our friends at Bury My Demons.
Hell yeah. They are playing this the 4th or something like that,
The
right?
4th, this week, August 4th at the Fed in Denver, Colorado.
Dude.
It's going to be badass,
It's going to be a sick-ass show.
Yeah.
I can't wait, man.
Yeah,
can't
with
wait.
the X faces, too, so it'll be a
X-Faces.
bunch of old Mushroom Head. And
Dude.
it's going to be a good show, man.
It's going to be cool, man. I can't wait, man. I'm excited, dude. So, you know, and live music's always the best. So
Damn right.
Now, if this doesn't scare you, you might be a sociopath. We've seen the public backlash against flock surveillance cameras just ushering in mass surveillance, citizens revolting. I love it. But what if you found out there's something else at play that makes flock look like child's play when it comes to mass surveillance? Well, how about a company called Lightpost that wants to turn the 60 million streetlights in the U.S. into AI surveillance cameras watching you at all times? Take a look.
To turn streetlights into smart ALPR and live streaming cameras. Without having to add a single pole in the ground, this partnership accelerates deployments and turns existing infrastructure into intelligent, interconnected tools for public safety.
We're watching everyone for public safety. We're going to hear from this company, and you're going to find out what you need to know because they're coming. Welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my freedom-loving friend. This is where we help spread the light of truth and freedom because truth conquers. And if you're a truth seeker, you probably like your freedoms. You like your Bill of Rights to be real. Therefore, mass surveillance illegitimately needs to be conquered. Yeah, I have loved the past couple weeks. The revolt against flock safety cameras has been going all over, but these Axon Lightpost cameras, surveillance network, it really makes flock look like child's play. And by the way, flock, like, it's not child's play. It's authoritarianism. But Lightpost makes that authoritarianism look like child's play. Before we get into Lightpost, just take a quick look at a lady suffering the consequences of mass surveillance by flock.
We have cameras everywhere in that town. You can't get a breath of fresh air in or out without us knowing.
Chrisana Elzer learned the power of flock firsthand.
You were in town from 11:52 until 12:09. Exactly.
That's great. Like, I don't know if she's guilty or not. Doesn't matter. In this case, what we realize is, oh, you can't get a breath without being monitored. They knew to the exact minute when she entered town, when she left town. It's for public safety. Then why do you surveil everyone? Well, it's for public safety because amongst everyone, there's some criminals. It'd just be like if they have a warrant to go raid and search someone's house because they're suspected of criminal activity. This would be like, well, the FBI can just come and raid your house anytime they want. Why are they doing that? For public safety. They are monitoring the situation for criminals. But I didn't do anything. Then you should have nothing to worry about. We are surveilling and invading your privacy for public safety. Before we hear from this mass surveillance Lightpost company, and boy, are they ambitious. Gosh. We don't need to put in these poles that everybody's cutting down like they are with flock. Because there's poles already all around this country. There are 60 million light posts in this country already. So we just attach our little cameras and microphones. Look at that. Our mass surveillance network is 60 million cameras watching 300 million people. It's a lot of cameras, but it's easy to do when we use light posts that are already there. Anyway, quick rundown. Flock isn't the only concern. This is from Jason Bassler on Twitter. Ever heard of Axon Lightpost? I didn't until this. It's a network surveillance node with microphones, cameras, and real-time feeds. Flock tracks plates, Axon LP tracks everything around them. Two companies, one goal, the normalization of total surveillance. Yeah, it's great. Cool. Light pole, their cameras, microphones. It's really phenomenal. And when you hear the term LRP, it stands for like license plate reader, license plate LPR. LPR camera, I think, is the term. Because these cameras, they're said, well, they read license plates because 75% of all crimes involve like a car. So we're reading license plates. It's like saying, 75% of all criminals have houses. So we're just raiding houses. That's what we're doing. So they market them as we read license plates. But guess what? Humans show up on these cameras. They literally record everything. But we're just looking at the license plates. Well, you're recording everything. So let's hear from the company Axon Lightpost themselves and just what their ambitions are. And of course, why their ambitions are for your benefit. That's what this company stands for, I'm sure. Now, this guy who's opened our video on stage dressed like he's in Star Trek for some reason is about to hand the mic over to Axon Lightpost business guy.
Now, streetlights can do more than light the street. They can protect it. We call this Axon Lightpost. And to share more about this partnership, please welcome the CEO of Ubiquia, Ian Aaron.
I love that. I've introduced people on stage and pronounced their names wrong. It's actually very embarrassing on you. And now look at this guy. He's relatable. Come on. He's out for our protection. He doesn't even have a suit and tie on, collared shirt, top button's not buttoned, casual guys, jeans and kind of gay looking boots. Like, this is just a normal guy. He's not doing total surveillance. Is he?
Thanks, Rick. So
you're welcome.
At Ubiquia, our mission is simple: to make the world smarter, safer, and more connected.
All right, can we stop with the safety crap? Like, who was it? Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, one of those guys said, if you would trade your freedoms for safety, you deserve neither. So can we stop with the safety crap, guys? We don't need the world nerfed. We don't need that. So quit using that as an excuse. It's a lazy excuse for total surveillance. I would rather than come out to say, like, yeah, at Ubiquia, our mission is total surveillance and selling all that surveillance data to the government or whoever wants to buy it. But like, that's our mission. It's like, oh, cool, safety, thank you. Should we wear condoms preventatively just to be safe? Yes. Should we wear seatbelts when we're just walking around? Should we mask up just for safety? Stop with the safety stuff, guys.
We actually do that by leveraging the existing infrastructure that's already in the ground.
Oh, that's exciting.
That's 60 million streetlights in the U.S.
Great.
And actually 450 million worldwide.
Would you like the benefits of light pollution with total surveillance? We're not even going to let you see the stars in the sky while we watch you. We don't want you to have that much freedom.
And we make them intelligent.
Intelligent.
We built a reputation with more than 900 cities and utilities for turning ordinary streetlights into extraordinary tools for public safety.
Yeah, those it's not a good reputation, so you know. Rick?
Our UB Hub platform is easy to install, simple to relocate,
great,
and built to scale.
We want this thing scaled. We just want more of them.
Deploy and expand their video and LPR capabilities quickly.
Great, LPR, that's a license plate reader.
We're excited to announce our collaboration with Axon Lightpost.
Yes.
Creating together a powerful streetlight-based platform for video surveillance and LPR, all integrating seamlessly with Axon Fusus.
Yeah.
We believe this will be a game changer, giving law enforcement more eyes and real-time intelligence where they need it and when they need it. Here's a brief video to show you how we do it.
By the way, I haven't seen this video yet that he's showing. My prediction might seem a little dystopian. We're going to find out. Already it does. To protect our communities, we need more visibility. Like that. Nice little creepy looking thing. I like that. Show you how it assembles this. Excellent. Riveting. Yep. It's like no new polls required. That's like saying violating you, it's not going to cost us much money to do. Because we get to use the light poles that you, the taxpayers, already paid for. Look at you. You are actually funding us surveilling you, taking away your rights. You're welcome. You're welcome. We framed that in the video like it's a good thing because we think you're stupid. And you know what? You probably are stupid. So let's get these things installed on the double. Rick, can you get these installed on the double? Rick said he's getting them installed on the double. Okay. Do you feel safer yet? Does stupid feel safe? It should feel very safe to be stupid. Our country can't function unless you're stupid. So stupid feels safe. Let's feel safe, guys. Yeah, I don't need it. I never do. Public safety innovation at scale. Yeah, they probably paid $3 million to some branding agency to come up with that stupid tagline. Public safety at scale. Do you have Klaus Schwab write that for you? We're almost done here.
So now, with the help of my teammate, Todd.
Teammate. All right. He and Todd are gay lovers. He says teammate, but come
let's install Axon Lightpost in real time.
Yeah. Todd, put on your pants and come install this.
Todd's plugging this into the photocell socket, which has been common for 60 years.
Nice. I bet Todd, he had a sad night when he learned Lindsey Graham died.
On 450 million streetlights. This is how you install, power, connect.
Look at Todd. He's
LPR or any network camera.
Great
with edge processing, 10 to 40 hours of video storage.
Look at Todd.
And all integrated with Axon fuses.
Nice.
Great work, Todd.
Todd, that is great work. Now, go read to children at schools, Todd, because we know you like to do that when you're not installing mass surveillance cameras. So, as we go, I'm certainly a fan of these Axon Lightpost things. You can go to their website, axon.com. Total surveillance, that's the American dream, ladies and gentlemen. You saw that guy in Gay Todd just install them real time. 60 million light posts, no problem. We're going to release Gay Todd on all of America and just make you feel safe. Why is Axon Lightpost important? I imagine this is going to be a true statement. Let's hear it. Since 75% of crime involves a vehicle identification is second only to suspect description in importance for resolving a case. Agencies need more automatic license plate reader hits. They need context. Great. Yeah, agencies care about catching criminals. Did you look in the Epstein files? Even the unredacted ones, there's just criminals. They talk about torture and girls. Because I thought you really care about catching criminals, so I wanted you to know where there's some criminals. Dude, we don't need Mass surveillance to find the Epstein files. Okay, let's go on. Axon Lightpost provides robust ALPR alerts along with live streaming. Cool. Just live stream some total surveillance to their YouTube channel and vehicle recognition through the Ubiquia. Ubiquia is about the most dystopian, creepy word I've ever seen. I'm pretty sure it's a made-up word because they're making up new levels of authoritarian dystopia nightmare for you to live in. For your protection. Empowering agencies with real-time intelligence to enrich investigations. Yes, Americans, isn't your dream to empower agencies? Who cares about you and your family? But these agencies, like the 3-letter agencies, CIA, seed money, help fund Palantir, the FBI, yeah, they shut down foreign involvement investigations into Charlie Kirk's murder before they could even start. These are the 3-letter agencies. The CIA probably killed Kennedy, whatever. But these are the 3-letter agencies that we want to empower. That's what we care about. Thank you, Lightpost, for having your thumb on the pulse of what we care about.
Wow, so easy a monkey can do it. I mean, really.
Seriously, dude. It looked like you're pulling out some light that you're going to put in the corner of your living
man.
room
I
or
mean,
something.
look
How easy it is to assemble.
Right, here you go. Like I said, man, so easy a monkey can do it. I mean, and it's just
60,000 or 600,000 light posts in America.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous. And you're gonna put obviously they're not gonna put it on every freaking light post, but they've already counted out where they obviously they've already planned out where they're putting these ones because if they know how many light posts there are, they know where they're gonna put these things.
Well, the craziest part for me is like, you and I, we get up every day, alarms going off, we get up, take a poop, walk the dog, whatever it is, get ready, go to work, do the same job every day. At the end of the day, you're just like, man, same thing. Go home, make some dinner, watch some TV, go to bed, set the alarm before I do that so I can wake up the next day and do it again. And all this time goes on every day, just blah, 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 blah. It's the same old thing. And then you realize that these companies this whole time have been like every little second just building and building and building and building. And you're like, how the hell did they have all this? Where did they come up with this shit? Like, holy crap, dude. I was thinking, I could probably come up with a lot of ways to watch people.
Well, right, yeah.
Like I could come up with ways to catch shoplifters and stuff like that. But the problem for me is that I'm like, wait a minute, I shouldn't be looking at people. Like there's things where you're just like your morals and values kick in and you're like, bro, I shouldn't be doing this.
This isn't what, this isn't what life is supposed to be about.
These people don't have those morals and values apparently.
Definitely not. Until you put it in their face and be like, I'm watching you. Maybe that's what we should do. Is like, let me camp out in front of your house and I'll just, drive right behind you because that's basically what you're doing.
Well, and that's the problem, though, is that these people that were on that last video we put on there, those are just the peons, man. They don't mean nothing. They're just the blockers. They're running defense. You know what I mean?
I get
because
it, but,
you got layers of these morons up ahead. You can never find these people, man. It's insane how untouchable
that all these motherfuckers
people are that are touching every one of our lives every day.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe if we start touching their minions, maybe their minions will turn on them. Right. Maybe it's a possibility. You never know.
Man, it's crazy. I mean, if you think about it, with all the money that's been invested into that company, like JP Sears said, he's like, they probably paid $3 million for the commercial. It's like, we don't pay anything for this podcast because we don't have any money. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, we had to borrow cameras and use software that somebody else gave us.
Hey, man.
We're out there on the corner every day. Hey, man, we're trying to support our podcast. We got that sign out there. It's like, help support the podcast.
Hey, gotta do it,
we're broke. But these people are doing that kind of stuff for just a commercial that's like, when you watch it, it looks like watching an Apple commercial, like an Apple computer commercial or something.
Don't forget the key word.
Safety.
For our safety.
Yeah.
Don't forget the keyword.
The safety
our
word,
safety
man.
word. That makes
What's the safe word?
It makes everything better. It's for safety.
Yeah. You know, back in the day, we used to have safety meetings. Me and my boys. You know what I mean? Those were the safest meetings you could possibly have because all this other safety doesn't seem like it's real safe, man. It's insane. All my boys out there, they know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Right.
I know. They were good safety meetings.
That's right. You got to have good safety meetings or else people are in danger.
Yep.
That's the way it works. But hey, you know, we got some people that have actually escaped the mafia called the CIA and lived to speak about it. And apparently, you know, they wrote books, this guy, and, you know, he's got all kinds of stuff out there, but everything that he releases, all the money goes back to the people he's talking about.
I'm not the highest ranking CIA officer to go public. There have been CIA directors going public all the time. I think I have the distinction of being one of the highest case officers to go public and endeavor to tell the truth about what the CIA has been up to.
He is John Stockwell. Spent 12 years inside the CIA. An ex-Marine, he received the CIA Medal of Merit. He's one of the highest ranking officers to ever walk out and talk. Now, what he's about to say is disturbing, and every word of it is documented.
It's a vast subject, a dense subject. I can't possibly do justice to it in the time allowed. This means I'm going to have to insult your intelligence by skimming across the top of subjects that you could get a PhD dissertation written in and still not cover thoroughly. This massive documentation, of course, is the salvation of the intellectually attuned. I urge you to read for yourselves. Do not take anything I'm saying tonight as the gospel. I'm telling you that our leaders lied to us. They lied to us systematically. They lied to us with a purpose that may not be your purpose. Some of their lies, if you're a young man, may motivate you to go off someday and die, be killed, or to kill people. And the only way you can defend yourself against other people programming you, because we are programmable. Marine Corps boot camp taught me that. They can teach you and get you fired up, rah, 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 and then say charge, and you'll charge up the hill without asking why, and perhaps not come down the hill feet first.
He wrote a book about what he saw inside. The CIA sued him for it. A court ordered him to submit everything he writes to the CIA for censorship, and awarded them every dollar the book made. He's the only author who asks people not to buy his book.
If you don't defend yourself by filling your mind with a true understanding of what's happening in the world, then others will fill it up for you, and then at some point in time, use the information and the conditioning that they've planted in your mind and breast to use you, if you will.
What you're about to watch is almost 3 hours of testimony, compressed into the parts I found most revealing. I urge you to watch this video to the end. Some of it will confirm what you already suspected, and some of it you're not ready for.
Meanwhile, CIA activities, of course, have left their own permanent mark on U.S. society. The MKUltra program, I'll talk about it and perhaps not come down the hill feet first. The book, The Agency, by John Rainlay, which is the memoirs of CIA founders Larry Houston and Ray Klein and others, says that there were 175 different projects in that one program. We know of about 5 of them. These were experimentations with swine fever, with dengue fever, with deadly diseases, with psychedelic drugs on American population groupings without their permission in many cases. If you were reading the newspapers in October of 1988, you noticed that there was a settlement declared between the CIA and the victims at McGill University in Canada, where the CIA had been working with a mad psychiatrist who was taking the patients who came to him for help and shooting them up with hallucinogenic drugs to experiment with their minds instead of healing them. And this was a CIA program for which, with your tax dollars, we eventually paid damages to the victims. Read for yourselves again. As I say, read The Agency by John Rainlay. Read Clouds of Secrecy by Leonard Cole, a professor from Rutgers, and you find that this program is still going on today. Read In Search of the Manchurian Candidate by John Marks, published by New York Times Press in 1979, based on 14,000 documents gotten out of the CIA under the Freedom of Information Act, or go through the back issues of Covert Action Information Bulletin, which has a dozen solid articles about this program.
Now, MKUltra is the part they admit to. 175 projects. We officially know about 5. But here's what I couldn't stop thinking about. One of the men who built this program retired, wrote a letter to a friend, and then said, why not publish it? So they did. And what he wrote in that letter tells you everything you need to know about the kind of people running these programs.
Colonel White, one of the founders of this program, one of the founders of the CIA, retiring about the time I went in the mid-60s, wrote from retirement a letter about to a friend and then agreed to have it published. Why not, he said. And so we have it in his handwriting. He wrote, I toiled wholeheartedly in the vineyards because it was fun, fun, fun. Where else could a red-blooded American boy lie, kill, cheat, steal, rape, and pillage with the blessings of the All-Highest? Then we have the MH-Chaos program and the COINTELPRO program, CIA and FBI programs, where they were manipulating student and labor organizations and civic organizations, disrupting them, trying to redirect them. We have the findings of the Church Committee that they were getting journalists, up to about 200 journalists, including some of the biggest names in the business, and getting them to cooperate with the CIA to put its propaganda into our media so that we would be influenced with misunderstandings of what was happening in Southeast Asia, Korea, or China, or Central America, other parts of the world that our government wanted to destabilize and attack and fight wars.
I didn't expect that. The way he says it, it almost feels like a joke. But it's not. It's a letter, in his own words. Someone who was there, writing about it years later. And once you hear it like that, it's hard to just brush it off. Because what he starts describing after that doesn't feel isolated. It keeps showing up in different places around different groups. Students, journalists, universities, all tied into the same kind of operations. And this is where it starts to get a little more concrete.
Co-opting professors to work with the CIA to manipulate student groups and build files on students, publishing 1,200 books in which they were paying professors, scholars, journalists to write books in their names. And these books are still in our libraries today because the Church Committee couldn't force the CIA to reveal the titles. CIA propaganda, so that if you're doing your dissertation on the Vietnam War, for example, probably 1 or 2 dozen of the books that you'll have in your bibliography, if not more, will in fact be CIA propaganda, and you can only guess and try to discern which is which. And this is not ancient history. FBI Director William Sessions announced about this time last year that he was disciplining officers that he found had been improperly targeting CSPIS and 160 other civic organizations. And this summer, the Congressional Committee said there were a total of 1,600 groups that had been targeted and listed, as they say, improperly by the FBI. Again, the same type of programs as the MH-Chaos and COINTELPRO programs. And that's just FBI. The CIA was doing the same thing during the same period of time, but there's been no confession or revelation of what they were doing, nor has there been a publication of the lists of the names of the groups that were targeted. So if you had trouble in one of your groups, you can only guess if it was because of FBI or CIA disruption or just pure and simply human foible.
And again, none of this feels completely new. Most people already assume that information can be influenced, that narratives get shaped. But hearing how deep that can go, it shifts it a bit. Because it's not just news or headlines. It touches education, research, even the books people rely on to understand the world. And at that point, it starts raising a slightly different question. Not just what people are told, but how they end up seeing things that way in the first place.
We began the conditioning to war in this country, this permanent war complex we maintain, pretending we're good guys, at the age of 2. This is the age at which we put our children in front of the one-eyed babysitter and turn it on so we can go wash the dishes or take a break. And they watch the same show with different characters 10 or 15 times a day. And I'm talking about, I have a kid, so I'm into these things. You know, He-Man and Sheena and Scooby-Doo even. and the Transformers and the Decepticons and what. Each one of these nice little people put upon by ugly evil forces, always saying, please be nice. The evil forces insist on attacking, and at the last minute, the good guys rise up and stomp them down. Cut, commercial, and we move on, to the next show. Until it's estimated when we graduate from high school, we've spent more time watching violence on television than we've spent in the classrooms itself. And then you get into the movies we've been feeding ourselves during this military buildup during the 80s. Rambo, Commando, Red Dawn, the Rocky series, Under Siege, Delta Force, America, Missing in Action, Top Gun, Heartbreak Ridge, Death Before Dishonor, Platoon, Hamburger Hill, Tour of Duty, China Beach, and they go on and on. How many people saw the movie Red Dawn, by the way? This is fun. Don't be embarrassed. It's a great movie. Now, this story, it's science fiction. The producer of this movie went on television around the nation saying it was his purpose to create a movie that would that would draw people back to war, that would make them feel war could be a good and exciting thing. And this film was actually shown in Marine boot camps to motivate people, and to National Guard groups that were about to go down to train in Honduras for the possible invasion of Nicaragua. The science fiction is that they have a force, as you recall, of Russians, Cubans, and Nicaraguans who've invaded the United States, and they've gotten all the way to the Rocky Mountains. Now, you ask yourself why, the planning as they did the movie, why did they pick Russians, Cubans, and Nicaraguans? I mean, it would be a better movie if they picked Russians, Canadians, and Cubans. See, because Canada is an industrial country and there's a huge border, and there could be the Russians coming across at 100 places and pinning us against Cuba. I mean, you could kind of get your head in. I mean, it's all science fiction. Blow off our nuclear weapons and our army and all of that. This is the given. So why did they pick Nicaragua instead of, say, Canada? And the answer is, of course, they were targeting Nicaragua for a possible invasion by U.S. troops. So they had to condition the people that Nicaragua would be the next enemy, the next target. Anyway, this force gets all the way to the Rocky Mountains, where they're eventually stopped by the high school football team. Now, I submit to you that the 80s, you see, is the decade of the middle-aged women. This is, Dallas and Dynasty and the Golden Girls and Murder, She Wrote. Linda Evans, is in better physical condition than I am, and Joan Collins is older than I am, and she's a sex symbol, and the Nautilus workouts and the jogging. I mean, an 80s movie would have been the Soviets, Cubans, and Nicaraguans with middle-aged school teachers running through the mountains and shooting them down and drinking deer's blood and all of that. So why did they pick the high school football team? You see, the answer is obvious. They're going to fight the next war with the 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds. It's not going to be the middle-aged 50-year-olds. We're too smart. We've seen the cynicism of war. We wouldn't buy it. It's at that age, the high school graduates, where the young men are suffering from their massive doses of testosterone poisoning. And their minds have not yet had a chance to be filled, for all of them. Some are precautious, but many of them have not yet had a chance to fill their minds with experience, to understand what the world is all about, to understand how they're being used. So that's why they targeted that film at the high school. And then you look at the ads on television that were pumping at us then and now. Join the Army, be all that you can be, with these tanks jumping ditches and helicopters going 200 miles an hour. And so, then I say, wait a minute, what's going on here? What's missing, Where are the young men with their legs blown off at the knees, with their intestines wrapped around their necks? And the answer is that these things are not meant to educate. See, that's where they're reaching inside people's breasts and pressing buttons and manipulating people to join the Army and be all that you can be, and be available to be sent down to Central America to kill people and to die for your country. And then there's the most insidious ad I think I've seen in all of the days that I've watched television. This is the one of the soldier coming home on vacation in uniform, handsome young man. He's met by his brother. I think he's getting off a train. And he says, Dad never did understand why I joined the Army. And then they're driving, and he says, do you think you'll ever forgive me? And the boy says, well, Dad. And then they get in the living room, and the young soldier says, Dad. And the father turns and hugs him, and all's forgiven. Now, what's the point? They must have spent hundreds of millions of dollars on this ad. What's the point? The point you see is that there are a lot of fathers in this country that are saying, do not join the Army. They've seen the Vietnam War and the Korean War, and they've seen the cynicism, and they're telling their sons not to join the Army. And this ad is saying that it's okay, according to the values of U.S. society, to defy your father and join the Army.
In listening to all of that, it's easy to think this is just about perception, how people are influenced, what they're led to believe. But it doesn't really stop there. Because those same environments, the same places where these operations happen, don't just shape narratives. They leave something behind. And sometimes, it's a lot more tangible than just an idea.
Drugs. Every major area of operation in which the CI has worked has left behind a major functioning drug cartel. Again, this is a major subject we could talk about all night. I'll just mention it. We can go back to it in detail if you like in the question and answer. The French connection grew directly from the OSS, the CI's predecessors, getting Lucky Luciano out of prison and funding him to activate the mafia to work with the U.S. forces during the war and then right after the war to break up the strikes on the docks in Marseille. The Golden Triangle in Southeast Asia grew directly out of our covert policies there. Before it had been run by French intelligence with the Corsican mafia, we took over with our Air America and civil air transport planes, flying in arms to our allies, flying back out with the heroin. The first target being U.S. GIs during the Vietnam War, the second target being the United States itself. The Golden Crescent. Afghanistan, of course, is the largest covert operation the CI has run to date. We understand in terms of the hundreds of millions of dollars it's cost, going on for over a year, and sure enough, after about 6 years, the Golden Crescent in that area becomes the largest source of heroin in the world today. See for yourselves. If you like to get your information from video, see Guns, Drugs, and the CIA, the Frontline PBS show, or read for yourselves. Read The Great Heroin Coup by Heinrich Kruger. Read The Iran-Contra Connection by Peter Dale Scott. Read The Politics of Heroin in Southeast Asia by Al McCoy. Read The Cocaine Wars by Paul Eddy. Read Out of Control by Leslie Coburn. Read Mafia Kingfish by John Davis. Read The Senator Must Die by Bob Morrow.
He's going through it fast, but what he's saying is actually pretty simple. In these operations, you have planes moving in and out, weapons going one way, money coming back the other. And once those routes exist, they don't just get used for one thing. They get used for whatever fits through them, including drugs. If you've seen American Gangster, that idea probably sounds familiar. Different context, obviously, but the same basic mechanism. And the key point he keeps coming back to is this. There aren't short-term situations. These networks stay in place long after the operation itself is over. So at some point, it's not just about what was done, it's about who makes sure it never really comes out.
I worked for George Bush personally at the end of the Angolan operation when he was CI director in 1976. We had broken the law and we had perjured ourselves to cover it up. We being Henry Kissinger and Bill Colby, mostly me being in a staff position under them. Bush's policies were not to find out the truth and punish the perpetrators and clean up the CIA. It was to cover for us. He went to the congressional committees and said, I wasn't here, but these nice people I'm meeting, he's a very nice person, by the way. He would walk down the hall shaking our hands saying, hello, I'm George Bush, and I want you to know I love being here working with all these fine people in the CIA. And we were saying, huh? I mean, this is the CI director is supposed to have kind of an aura, you know. But he was going to the Congress saying, I can't believe that these nice people out there would do the things that you're alleging, but I'll check. And then he had a young attorney sent down to my office to go through my files to purge them of documents that would prove exactly what they were accusing us of. And then he went back to them and said, we've checked, there are no files in the agency that prove anything like you're alleging, therefore you can drop it, and they did.
That part stays with you. Not even what happened, just how it was handled, and how easily everything moves on from there.
The second most profitable industry in the world, of course, is the production of arms. $3 billion a day bought and sold of weapons. The defense corporations making 20 to 24% profit. We just got through spending a total of $2.2 trillion on the largest arms buildup perhaps in the history of the world, certainly of any peacetime arms buildup, and our debt increasing by just about exactly the same amount during that period of time. The result is that we've created a society that's dominated by what President Eisenhower called the military-industrial complex. The U.S. taxpayer is now carrying a gigantic burden. 1/3 of our budget about is for the military. 53 cents, according to the Washington Post, of every tax dollar goes to the military.
And when he gets to this part, it kind of pulls everything together. Not in a dramatic way, just in numbers. You start seeing where all of it leads, what it costs, and who ends up carrying it.
Now, the result, of course, of this runaway arms race that we've got going with this expenditure, giant expenditures on the military, is that we can't afford it. We're having to cut every conceivable social service. We can't afford to care for the old people or the poor people or the handicapped people or the farmers or to help the young people get through college. And we're gutting Social Security to cover the deficit. I repeat, you and I, if you've got a job, we're taxed, the FICA tax, it's 15%. Your employer pays 7.5%. If you're self-employed like me, you pay all 15%. And this is your retirement. You're supposed to get that back when you're 65. And they're spending that money like it was windfall profits to cover the deficit that they've run up on the production of arms. The real deficits are running about $300 billion. They're calling them $152 billion. The difference they're claiming against borrowing against the Social Security Retirement Fund that belongs to us. And they're spending it on their military today. What's happening is that the United States has plunged relative to the rest of the world. 25% of the people in this country are now functionally illiterate. We're 6th in the world in terms of the percentage of children in school. We're 10th in the world in quality of education. We're 7th in the world in terms of life expectancy. We're 20th in the world in terms of infant mortality. To sell these sacrifices to the American people, the world has to be hostile and dangerous. If the world were peaceful, we would never put up with this kind of expenditure on arms.
And after all of that, this is the part I paid the most attention to. Because it's not really about information anymore. It's about what you do with it.
We're all disempowered. We're all so helpless. The individual here in Washington or in Maine, where I was a couple of nights ago, or in South Texas or California, what can I do? And it's a tough one. We're up against the power structure. We're up against the military-industrial complexes with the media bought and woven right into the things, and it's a tough one. But the professor who stopped the war is a wonderful, to me, inspiring example. My war in Angola. Then young Professor Jerry Bender of UC San Diego, who had done his studies in Angola, and he saw what we were doing, and they bothered him. And he couldn't figure out what to do about it. How could he stop it? So one day he picked up the telephone and he called his senator. And he said, Senator Tunney, I have an expertise on Angola. I see what the CIA is doing. I think they're lying to you. I think it's dangerous. I would like the opportunity to brief you. I will not waste your time. And the senator listened to him and came back to Washington and found that we were indeed lying to the Congress. And he introduced the Tunney Amendment to the FY76 Defense Appropriation Act that stopped my war in Angola. Now, some years ago, I came to talk to Admiral LaRocque at the Center for Defense Information here in Washington because I was way over my head to ask him, people ask me, Admiral, I said, what can I do? And I don't know what to tell them specifically. And this beautiful old man, we were having breakfast at his home, and he stood up. He said, I love that question. He said, I tell people, I don't know you, but you know yourselves. You know what your capabilities are. He said, I tell people if you can write articles, write letters, write books, write telegrams. If you can organize. If you can travel, go to Nicaragua or the Las Vegas test sites and see for yourself so you can be an intelligent witness to what's happening in the world. He said, and I quote, I tell people if they feel comfortable lying down in front of bombs, trucks with bombs on them, to lie down in front of trucks with bombs on them. But he said, I tell them you've got to do what you can do every day of your life. You can't wait until you graduate next summer or get married or get divorced or get a job, because these things malfunction all the time and they're controlled by intellectual giants like Ronald Reagan and the world may not be here by the time you graduate next summer or get divorced or get a job or whatever.
Yeah, it's amazing that this guy was even able to get out, man.
Well, right, and that's you hear of people, all these scientists that have been disappearing, and just even government officials just disappearing and dying and all that stuff, and here is this man that but. And maybe the reason is that he has stashes that he's like, yeah, you can try to mess with me, but there's stuff that I have hidden.
He's like the Epstein of the CIA world,
right, man? Well, yeah, man. Obviously he has something or somewhere, or to where they're like,
kept him alive.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe it is just like one of those other distraction things too. Is like we'll let him release some of this stuff that most people already kind of know about, and he did give a little bit more information than I knew.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and that's the thing. Like, this is a lot of this stuff. Some of it I knew, but some of it I didn't. That's why I wanted to put it on here, because it's like the OSS was the original CIA. You know what I mean? They even talked about that, and that's the thing is like the CIA totally ruined everything that the OSS had built. They actually, I'm not saying they were good guys, but they were better.
Right. They were actually for the people.
Like a tradition, and then all of a sudden everything got corrupted when it became the CIA. And so that's how all this other stuff came up. Like they talk about mind control and wanting to know everybody's thoughts and coordinating everybody's moves. And I'll admit, man, ever since I was a little kid, I've always thought that America was the good guys since the beginning.
Right.
And it's true. Watching all those cartoons, they're the exact same story. I picked up on that a long time ago, but at the same time, it's like I didn't realize that I was being indoctrinated to make sure that I believed that no matter what, we are the good guys.
Yeah.
And then when you grow up and you learn and you think for yourself, you start to find out all these things, and it's like, bro, they're into all this other stuff, yeah, but they've got, Nikola Tesla's, all of his research, all of his scientific stuff, they've got all of that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody knows this, but the president of the United States right now, his grandpa actually was the lead guy on taking all of Nikola Tesla's stuff.
Huh.
Yeah.
Weird, huh?
It is. Because, Nikola Tesla also, not just the free energy stuff that he was trying to work out, but he also knew time travel. So a lot of people think that he actually figured it out.
Right. Well, yeah, and, I know that we kind of talked about it in earlier episodes about a lot of that stuff, and that's a definitely different story to get into as well. I mean, just the whole,
especially if you think about that book that's got Barron Trump in it.
Yeah, man,
being the last president and all that. I think it was called The Last President.
I think that's what. Yeah, and there's some
from
weird,
like 1893 or something
like that. Yeah, where it's like,
old school.
Yeah. But you never know, man. It's funky, man, and just the stuff that's been created that since we've been alive.
Right.
It's
well, and it seems like if you start paying attention when these people are talking about 1963 and 1972 and blah 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 blah, seems like a lot of stuff happened in 1976. It was the year I was born. Seems like 1977. There was all kinds of DNA changes. Well, there's all kinds of weird stuff, all kinds of technology breaking through.
America's bicentennial.
Right.
And
it's crazy when you think about like all the stuff that's happened since 1976. Think about the technology. Like
it's
where
been
it's
weird.
Gone from when I was a kid. We used to have that little it was like a little tank or something like that had like a keypad on the back of it where you could press in coordinates. And it would go forward 8 feet, take a left, go 2 feet, take a right, go 10 feet. And the commercial would show that it would take an apple to dad or whatever, in another room,
That's kind of cool, though.
It was awesome, dude. My grandparents got one at a garage sale or something, right?
Yeah.
And they gave it to me, and I just rolled around with it for a long time. But then I figured it out. I hit all those buttons, and sure enough, you could control it, and it would just your coordinates, so you could go all the way around our little trailer, right?
How crazy is that?
Yeah, and that was the coolest thing in the world. Now these kids would be like,
"What the hell is that?
Does it have
man?
a TV?
Right? If they can't control it on their
screen, I don't want it.
Well, maybe that's what they're doing with the their phones, man. It's like being able to control stuff on their phones.
It is. There's a Lexus now that you can park with your phone. The lady, I just saw the commercial the other day. She was sitting there doing this with the wheel.
Get the fuck,
bro.
Man,
you can't even back your own car up while you're sitting in it, but now you're gonna use like some radio control technology.
Oh,
like that's gonna be better.
What the frick is that,
dude?
I don't.
I see stuff every day where I'm just like,
yeah, man.
You know, I get it. When we were kids, we didn't want to get up and go change the channel all the time, so make a remote for it. I get that. Yeah,
right.
But, you know, just get out of your car when you can't really actually even get in it because where you're going to park it is so close to the other guy's car that doesn't have this technology.
Well, I thought it was bad when you just kind of like the whole hands free of just you press the button and your car parallel parks, and I'm like, come on,
yeah, that's
man.
old.
That's
but
so apparently
that's
I mean,
2010. It's insane, man.
Oh man, that's.
I mean, now you know you got all these cars that have all this stuff. They're telling everybody everything. Now that this lady was complaining the other day because it was like, "Are you sick and tired of your car telling you what to do?" Mine's telling me put both hands on the wheel. Make sure you look forward, both eyes forward.
Dude, that's
slow
insane.
down. Make sure you're paying attention while she's driving. Like that's not distracting or anything.
Right. Somebody yelling at you. I mean, isn't that whole backseat driver thing? Is that what it's called? The backseat driver?
Literally. But now if you don't keep your eyes forward enough times, they give you a bad grade, like you're back in fifth grade.
What the frick?
It's insane. I like it. You know, it's no wonder why people are starting to hear voices all the time. They're sitting there looking at these black screens and looking and all this doom scrolling and blah, 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 blah. But apparently this technology's been around for a long time.
I tried to speak with Senator Clinton at the time. She wouldn't talk to us, and one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up to her is because someone was hearing her voice, ventriloquism.
It's been done to me, and I don't know why. I don't know who is doing it, what the purpose is.
Now watch this, because what he just described might explain something that was caught on camera during a U.S. House hearing. Look at the woman standing behind Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, and pay close attention to what happens when she speaks.
First, I wanted to introduce into the record page 55 from the committee's interview with FBI employee Roya Demlow, who you just spoke about, which took place on July 17, 2023. They would be representing what I said because I don't have much knowledge of that. They would be misrepresenting.
All you have to do is use voice morphing.
This Harvard scientist exposes claims about CIA mind control weapons still being used today. And what you're about to witness might explain far more about the world we're living in than most people realize.
But if you cognitively model someone, you have a brain print, like a fingerprint. And if you use autocorrelation techniques, and there's a way, and we'll just kind of wave our hand, functional MRI that you can do at a distance over the earth, you have every human being's brain pattern. You can control 8 billion brains on the planet, potentially. Read them.
Scientists and military researchers have spent decades studying how the brain responds to energy, sound, and stress, often in ways most people never hear about. The idea of neuroweapons and mind control sits in that shadowed space where advanced science meets secrecy. One of the people raising these questions is Robert Duncan, a Harvard-educated scientist with a background in advanced defense research. What makes his warning unsettling isn't what can be proven on paper, but what leaves no visible trace at all. Think about it. If the battlefield had truly shifted inward, then the most dangerous weapon may be the one you never know is there. For instance, some people say the sound didn't come from outside at all. It didn't travel through the air or enter through the ears. It felt internal, as if the brain itself was being triggered to hear something that wasn't there in the usual way. This idea has a name that sounds unsettling even before you understand it. Voice to skull.
And so if you're programming someone to go after, let's say, a political target, all you have to do is use voice morphing, and pipe in the tortures, the pains, and 24 hours, make it a artificial intelligent chatterbot too. And you'll drive the person crazy. The news, the mass news media will just write them out. Oh, they're crazy.
At first, it's easy to dismiss. Hearing sounds without external noise is often associated with mental illness. And for years, that's exactly how many of these claims were treated. But a small group of scientists have pointed out something uncomfortable. There was a documented phenomenon, studied decades ago, where certain types of pulse radio frequency energy can create the perception of sound inside the head. This is known as the microwave auditory effect, or the Frey effect.
There's something called the Frey effect. The Army had it on their website called V2K, and that's how a lot of people refer to it, that can pipe voices into someone's head. You can't plug your ears. It actually vibrates the brain, which is like many concussions, through the small pulses that expand the tissue and then contracts it, then goes to the inner ear where they can hear it. If you just turn that up, it causes brain damage. You're heating the brain. So there are a lot of ways, and a weapon, for example, that I think is reclassified now, but it was done at the University of Nevada as a non-lethal weapon that resonates the dopamine cells of your brain, producing cells of your brain, and it floods it. Now, it worked. The Air Force reclassified it.
The brain can register sound without the ears even being involved. That single fact changes the tone of the conversation. What once sounded impossible now sits in an uneasy space between science and speculation. For people already experiencing unexplained symptoms, this possibility feels less like theory and more like a clue that refuses to go away. And this is where the story stops being abstract. Reports tied to what later became known as Havana syndrome describe clusters of symptoms that didn't fit neatly into familiar diagnoses.
That incapacitates the adversary in a non-lethal way. Not totally non-lethal, though. If you have too much neurotransmitter in your brain, it's a neurotoxin. It'll also cause brain damage. So brain damage can occur through these weapons that are non-lethal in many different ways.
People experience persistent dizziness, balance problems, headaches, brain fog, sensitivity to sound, and difficulty concentrating. These weren't fleeting complaints. For many, they disrupted daily life and professional performance. Some clinicians began using the term acquired neurosensory dysfunction to describe what they were seeing. The word acquired mattered. It suggested something had changed. Something happened. Brain imaging and vestibular tests in certain cases showed abnormalities consistent with injury, even though there was no physical impact or trauma. That detail alone forced doctors to slow down and take the reports seriously. What made this more alarming was who was affected. These were not random patients. They were diplomats, intelligence personnel, and their families. People trained to handle stress, people whose jobs depended on clarity and control. As similar cases appeared in different countries, governments could no longer treat them as isolated incidents.
The very first CIA agent that came forward and said, I heard these crickets and this sound, and my brain hasn't been the same since. He's gone through the same process as Len Barry, just block after block of government bureaucracy saying, you're delusional, this technology doesn't exist. And, you don't have to go to the Directed Energy Directorate of the Air Force to know that we've been working on this for a long time with our NATO allies. And so a lot of the work on these concussion weapons, non-lethal weapons, are done under that directorate.
At the center of many theories is a simple idea with complicated implications: directed energy. Unlike energy that spreads out naturally, directed energy is focused. It goes where it's aimed. Microwaves are often mentioned because they already interact with the human body in limited, well-documented ways. Under certain conditions, they can cause heating effects, pressure sensations, or changes in perception. That doesn't mean they were designed as weapons, but it does mean they're not neutral to biology.
Brain damage is being done because the brain rewires itself more rapidly. Let's say if you lose your eyesight, then your hearing and taste, smell, your taste and smell get better. Your brain adapts faster. During this adaptation process, you can insert an external signal, sort of like hiving brains together.
Physical symptoms are only part of the damage. When the brain is overwhelmed by pain, confusion, or constant stress, it begins to change how it processes reality. Focus narrows, memory slips, confidence erodes. The mind starts working against itself.
There's natural schizophrenia. There's a whole bunch of chemical imbalances,
Right,
etc.
right.
These weapons can actually induce and mimic all those diseases and effects. The conversations, the scripts, they're called, are always the same. And I've heard them all. They're slightly tailored for each individual, but they're scripts. And they're meant to confuse. The very derogatory, that's just typical breakdown. If you've ever been to boot camp, you're a worm until you're part of the team. And why would you want to break down the ego of that person? To rebuild it. So this gets into creating Manchurian candidates, split personality spies, and information couriers, people that will carry messages to other places without being aware that they're actually doing it.
Cognitive overload doesn't require force. Uncertainty alone can push people to the edge. When symptoms come and go without warning, the nervous system stays on high alert. Sleep suffers, judgment weakens, stress compounds stress. Over time, the person isn't just injured, they're destabilized. This is why psychological breakdown matters in this story. Even without proving a weapon, the outcome looks the same. A person questions their own thoughts. Others question them too. Support systems strain, authority becomes harder to trust, whether intentional or accidental. The effects mirrors psychological warfare, disorientation, isolation, and loss of control. And once a person reaches that state, another question quietly follows. What comes next? Because once you can break a mind, you can also rewrite it. That fear isn't new. The idea of the Manchurian candidate has haunted public consciousness for decades, rooted in Cold War experiments, psychological conditioning, and covert research into behavioral control. The concern was never about instant mind control, but about gradual influence, shaping beliefs, reactions, and identity under sustained pressure.
They're told by the voices, the V2K. So they'll say, we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this.
Modern discussions revive that fear in a new context. If stress, trauma, and neurological disruption can weaken a person's sense of self, then influence becomes easier. Not absolute control, but nudging behavior, altering perception, or steering decisions without the person fully realizing it. And when influence no longer feels internal but authoritative, the stakes change. Because the most powerful manipulation isn't suggestion, it's command. The moment a message feels unquestionable, resistance fades. With this comes the weapon that was never meant to be known publicly. Claims surrounding the so-called voice of God weapons take the fear even further. The idea centers on authority-based auditory influence, sounds or messages perceived as external truth, command, or guidance. Not persuasion through argument, but through perceived certainty.
There is a classification weapon system called the voice of God, and I've met some of these people, but they're convinced and they'll do whatever this voice tells them. And that's the dangerous part. That's another form of trickery. God wants you to go on a spree, let's say. Some people would do that.
Whether real or exaggerated, the ethical concern is clear. If a person believes a message carries unquestionable authority, resistance weakens. History shows how powerful belief can be when it feels absolute. Even the suggestion that such influence might exist forces uncomfortable questions about consent, autonomy, and abuse. And if belief can be shaped in one mind, it doesn't stop there. Because ideas don't stay contained, they spread. These are often called mind viruses, not because they are technical, but because they behave like contagion. When people adopt a belief and reinforce it collectively, doubt disappears. Stories harden into truth. Whether the original cause was physical, psychological, or misunderstood, belief itself becomes a force. And once belief stops at the group level, it doesn't stay contained. It scales. It crosses borders, cultures, and screens. What begins as shared conviction can turn into shared emotion. For those who believe it can't operate on a global scale, that assumption no longer holds. Human emotion has always been contagious, but technology has changed the speed and reach. When fear, anxiety, or outrage spreads across networks, millions of people can begin reacting in sync without ever meeting. This is what some describe as an empathy machine. Not a device, but a system where emotions align and reinforce one another from across borders. Pressure doesn't have to be applied directly. It can be absorbed socially, amplified culturally, and sustained psychologically. What starts as individual stress becomes collective tension. Some of these ideas sound extreme until you look at what militaries openly research. Modern psychological warfare focuses less on destruction and more on perception.
How could you disable a person? Okay, most people think directed energy, a laser beam. Okay, you burn them a few times. That's not really disabling them. Making them dysfunctional, that would be scrambling their brains. That'd be dopamine dumps. That would be making, concussion weapons. That would be somehow affecting their nervous system so they drop on the ground. So it's a combination of psychological warfare as well as directed energy weapons, along with the voice of God weapons, with voice morphing, with artificial intelligence chatterbots. It's the most complex weapon system we have put together ever as a species.
Technologies involving lasers, light projection, and advanced signaling have been tested for communication, deterrence, and non-lethal control. These systems are not proof of mind manipulation, but they show how perception itself has become a strategic domain.
You have no ability to discern, like looking at a television, what goes into your mind. It is directly stimulating those neurons. All the senses have been bypassed, like in the movie The Matrix. They're literally plugged in to a synthetic controlled reality that they cannot differentiate from their external bodily senses.
The goal isn't always to injure, it's to confuse, intimidate, or influence behavior. History shows that militaries experiment first, then adapt. What remains classified often fuels speculation, especially when paired with unexplained events. But while theories compete and investigations stall, the human cost continues quietly in the background. Behind every theory are people trying to survive their symptoms. Many seek neurological care, therapy, and rehabilitation with mixed results. Some improve, others struggle for years. What hurts most isn't always the pain, it's not being believed.
I've lost everything.
Victims often face long waits, fragmented care, and pressure to accept explanations that don't match their experience. Recognition matters. Support matters. Even without definitive answers, compassion can reduce harm. Maybe the real question isn't whether these weapons exist, or whether Havana syndrome will ever be traced to a single cause. Maybe the real question is who gets to decide what counts as proof, and who is expected to live with uncertainty. If something unseen can disrupt the mind, the body, and a life without leaving clear evidence, then belief becomes a kind of power, and power is rarely shared equally. So the question lingers, unresolved and uncomfortable. If these tools are real, who decides when they're used? And on whom?
So hearing voices, man.
Dude, that's like, I hear voices, but it's my own.
Dude. I talk to myself a lot too, but I never really actually speak back.
Dude.
But I'm serious. I've heard the vibrations and the buzzing and all that kind of stuff before. Especially like after I had my heart surgery, if I had my head turned this way a little bit, I could hear this whoa, whoa, whoa. And I just thought it was, like my veins or something being funny. But I don't know, man, because these people are describing the same things that I've heard. I'm not saying that it's been able to drive me crazy yet, but who knows? I don't know. Maybe you guys think something different. I might be crazy now.
Just even hearing Hillary Clinton's voice.
Dude.
I mean, come on, man. That would drive me freaking nuts.
At that point, I'd probably be like, all right, just end it, dude. Whatever you're going to do it now.
Yeah, man. It's like anybody's voice except for that one. That one. Oh, dude, right?
Bro.
Well, I was going to say, and the people on The View, because those voices. Could you imagine? See, that would be torture.
That's when you find out that you are insane and you have to kill yourself.
Right.
No matter what it takes, you have to end this.
Not to make light of it,
crap,
but holy
bro,
man,
yeah.
it's.
Well, and just to think that, this stuff's been around for a long time. People have been doing this forever. If you think about like those places like back Teotihuacan or whatever, and like down in South America where they can stand up on this one place and speak and the whole village can hear them and stuff like that. Like they've always been playing with stuff like that. But when it comes to like having sounds coming to your brain that sound like it's from inside your head,
Dude,
is a different story.
Yeah, man.
Like
that is totally because, and that's the other thing too is like with like how you were saying, everybody else is hearing it.
Right.
This is just
it's just you.
Yeah. Especially if you might be in a room full of people, and you're just hearing it. That is
and like with the Havana syndrome stuff, it's basically when they took out Maduro. That's how they got in there and got him.
Right.
They made everybody sick. They were talking about those direct energy weapons, and the U.S. military was boasting it. It's not like that's a conspiracy or anything. They were straight up.
Look at what we
bragging
have.
about.
Yeah, man.
So it's not like we're making that kind of stuff up. So it's not like it doesn't exist.
Right.
All this is real, and the fact that like DARPA and all that kind of stuff goes into like finding all these young people and getting them hooked up. We covered something like that before where it was the Wi-Files. Remember where that kid got the phone call?
Yeah.
And he was like, who the hell is this? And nobody could know who it was and all that kind of stuff. It's the same thing,
It's tripped out, man.
These programs are enormous. And, I've heard people talk about, well, if you think that we're headed towards a dystopian state, you might be a little surprised to find out that we're already there.
Right.
It's like, I can't wait for the days where I just go fishing. I don't worry about who's watching me. I just get on the boat, and go out and catch some fish, put the boat back on the trailer, head home, have a good day, take a nap, and wake up, and that's just the way life is, man. I don't think that's ever going to happen. You can't even fish now. Now they're asking you to stop fishing.
Yeah.
It's like,
what was it up in Oregon or whatever? They were trying to make it illegal to fish
go in the forest.
Yeah, man. I know. Canada did that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like all these lakes around here in Colorado are all empty.
Yeah,
and even the one that's the drinking water for Aurora, how is that empty? That doesn't irrigate anything. We haven't had scorching summer to where it's dried up the water. That's not happening.
It's weird. It's like, so I went up to Carter Lake, last weekend, and driving by, and you could see like they had ponds there, but they were dried up, and it was so weird to see because that's what was there, and it's like, where is that, man? It's I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing, you got people are trying to sell you the fact that you could put a data center in your own house now, so that they can basically alleviate all these giant data centers. Have you heard about that?
No, I have not.
Oh, yeah. So now that you can't water your lawn, but they want you to put a data center inside your house. It's a mini pod. They're actually selling them. People get paid to have them in their house.
Are you?
Yes. And so the way they work this is they jack up your your power bill so high you can't pay for it, and then they offer you this solution.
How?
Yeah.
That is well,
we'll cover that on one of these podcasts coming up, but it's insane. They're definitely trying to do whatever they can to make sure that they can talk to us in our heads without talking to us, and watch us, make sure that they can control what we're thinking all day, what our attention goes to.
That's the weird thing, like how you were saying that they talk to us. That just made me think of that Star Trek episode. It's an old Star Trek episode. Some of y'all might know the old Star Trek Captain Kirk, where it was actually even the original captain for the Star Trek that was down this planet, and they were talking to everybody through. There was no lips moving or nothing. It was just all through the mind.
Telepathy.
It was insane, but yeah, dude. Yeah. It was. Yeah. But anyway, sorry. It just made me think that was a strange ass episodes too, man. But yeah.
That's why they think that that's why everything was written in symbols back in the day, because nobody could talk. They didn't have language.
Never know, man. Hey.
Who knows, man? We'll never know.
It could have been clicks and clicks and click, click, click.
Click, clack. Click clacks back at it again, threatening
Right.
Elon Musk.
Oh my goodness.
Click clack.
Strange facts you may have never known.
Did you know an entire lake once exhaled and killed 2,000 people in a single night? On August 21st, 1986, Lake Nyos in Cameroon released a massive invisible cloud of carbon dioxide. It had no smell, no color, no sound. The gas was heavier than air, so it rolled along the ground like fog and swallowed every village in its path. People died in their beds. Cattle dropped mid-stride. Families were found seated at tables, untouched, as if frozen mid-conversation. No fire, no flood, no warning. Just a perfectly intact world with everything in it dead.
Dude, I mean, freaking Lake farted basically.
Yeah.
And took out.
I was thinking it was like silent but deadly fart.
Hell
It was
yeah.
like came out, no sound.
Right? Didn't even
nothing,
have no
you just,
smell.
All of a sudden you're like,
Oh,
what'd
man.
you do?
Right? At least you get a warning or
You
something.
need to go
Those-
wipe, bro.
Dude, I don't know, man. That's insane, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking
That's
mu-
sad. I mean, you see that a lot where like people that live near volcanoes or something like
Right.
that, you know, that they'll
Get an
just
eruption.
be dead.
And all, yeah,
all
man.
of a sudden, that carbon monoxide and all
Yeah, dude,
kinds of stuff.
2,000 people just
That's
dropped
terrible,
them.
man.
It's for real.
It's crazy. You know, one time I remember I was like 14. My grandparents used to send us to like the video store down the street. And when I say us, I meant my sister, you know, and she was like 4 years older than me. So we go down there and then we had to argue about which video we were going to rent, you know, because we could never agree on anything, right?
Right.
We get up to the counter and we're like getting ready to check out. My sister actually lived with my parents up in Aurora or Denver, and I live with my grandparents out in Brush. And so we're standing there, and all of a sudden I just look at her, and she's got this huge smile on her face. I'm like, uh-oh. What the hell? And then all of a sudden I can smell it. God, I live here, lady. Like, what are you doing?
Oh,
the
my
guy at the counter was
goodness.
just like, God, get out. Here, take the video. Just go.
That's
Man.
awesome, man. I don't know.
Surprised
I
we
mean,
didn't
you
end
know,
up just like dying right there.
I've played the fart game many times in life, so I. But yeah, dude, it's never killed anybody. Though.
Silent but deadly. Holy shit.
Ooh, holy moly, man, that's insane.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Dude, right.
Well, hey guys, really appreciate you guys hanging out with us again.
For real.
Don't forget to check out Bury My Demons and everybody opening up for X Faces at
Hell yeah.
the Fed on the 4th.
And hey,
We
I
also
ran
have-
into a friend that lives at my, and she does teeth cleaning. So anybody looking to do some teeth cleanings,
yeah,
hit her up.
Yeah.
And thank y'all once again for checking us out. We really do appreciate it. Check out Bury My Demons, you know, coming up on the 4th. They would appreciate it. We'd appreciate it. And like Justin says, if you got some music that you'd like us to show or pass on, hit us up. You know how to do it.
That's right. We'll see you guys next week.
I know what time it is. Ain't got no gas in it.